we need a society that plays more and is active more. And it's just so important, like our, ability as coaches to inspire that and just remember and remind our kids that it's fun. You get to play. Now, when we make it a chore, we make it a job, that's when kids start to quit. And a lot of you that are listening to this podcast have seen the statistic that 70% of kids quit by 13. Obviously, things get more competitive, and they should get more competitive as we go up. I feel like one of the things that we need to do better at as coaches is doing both, right? Being highly competitive and having a highly fun practice. You can do both. And that doesn't mean you are doing ring around the rosy and like only doing knockout and hot shots and like easy fun games, right? There's going to be times where you have challenging practices. It's just keeping that in frame of a frame of reference that youth sports are supposed to be fun. You are listening to the Beyond the Scoreboard Podcast, transforming athletes into leaders on and off the court with host Coach Furtado. Coaches, are you ready to take your passion for coaching and turn it into a full-time career? I know the challenges firsthand, but the Make Money Coaching Sports program helped me take BTG basketball full-time. If you're tired of juggling coaching part-time and want to fully focus on doing what you love, this business accelerator will give you the tools and support to make it happen. Hit the link in the show notes below to learn more and start living your dream. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Beyond the Scoreboard Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Furtado, and I look forward to giving you and showing you how to maximize your summer for youth sports athletes. And this is for the 90 to 95% of youth sports athletes. Now, this is not for the athletes that are on track to play high-level competitive Division I sports. This is for the majority of us of remembering, number one, why we even play youth sports and how to maximize the summertime, because we have so much free time, right? It's 8 to 12 weeks, depending on your schools, whether you get off early June, go back late August, and really just how to make the most of the summer for parents. And then as coaches, something to be mindful of and how to maximize that time for your athletes to really help transform them so they can really prepare, no matter what sport they are playing, to become better in that next season. So I think number one, the thing we have to keep in mind as coaches, and then obviously as a reminder for parents, is, you only get 18 summers with your kids before they go to college or they graduate. And I know not everyone's journey of graduating high school is different, and we have to understand that. And at the same time, just recognize how few summers we really get. And so, for coaches and people with programs, how are we building out our schedule that allows our families opportunities to, number one, travel, to number one, have good quality family time. So us at BTG, we're going to Las Vegas during Summer League weekend, which for those that don't know, Summer League is like a great weekend in the NBA and NBA basketball, because you get to watch all the rookies and second and even some third year guys play and compete at a lower price. And then also we're going to San Diego. So providing experiences for our families to make memories and, obviously make memories beyond the game. Right. And so we're doing less tournaments in June. So that way, hey, go travel in June. And at the end of the day, I think we even have to, just as program directors, whether you're a high school director or like you work for a high school, you work for a club, just have to be mindful that go let a kid go travel for a week with their family, and it's we need to make sure that my point number two is we give kids an opportunity to have rest and like live a life outside of whatever sport they are playing. I think yesterday or the day before, I had a conversation with an athlete who is taking a break from basketball, and he says he's quitting. And I really wanted to encourage him to rephrase it to taking a break, because a lot of times, right, especially in high school athletes, and I've seen it at middle school, they're playing the same sport year round. And, a lot of times it's because they enjoy that sport and only that sport. That's one of the things I do see. And I think it's important for us as I'm not a parent, but I will say kid influencers as parents and coaches, just being mindful that we don't need to be all gas, no brakes the entire year round, right? We really don't want to burn out our athletes. Like we want our athletes to play the long game. And so athletes like LeBron James have come out and spoke about how he takes Bryce and Bronny out of AAU for a month or two during the summer to just spend some quality family time and get away from the game. You don't have to be on this constant rat race the entire time. And that's why I'm going to lead to point number 3. Wisdom point number 3 is run your own race, right? Encourage athletes to run their own race. And I think it can be really easy to be like, oh, my friend Johnny, he's playing club this entire July and August, or, whenever the months are. But if you need a break, right? If you, little Timmy or Sally, need a break from whatever sport it is, like it's okay to take a break. And again, remember, I'm talking about, this podcast is for the 90 to 95%. If you really want to get a Division I scholarship, it does become a job before college, right? College sports are a job. We don't want to make high school sports a job, though. High school sports are still a hobby. We still want them to love the game, which is point number 4, is like remembering what sports are all about. It's about fun, right? It's a game. It's really not that serious. We want our athletes to like enjoy and love coming to practice. We really do. And I think that's something that we have to keep in mind, is our job as youth sports coaches. I'm not talking again about the higher level elite coaching. Our job is to help them, inspire them to keep playing, right? Even if they don't play college basketball, we want them to have a positive relationship with whatever sport it is. So then they go and play intramurals when they're in college, so they can make friends, they can stay playing active. And one of our coaches on our BTG coaching staff shared a stat the other day in practice that 60% of those who graduate high school never sprint again. And we need a society that plays more and is active more. And it's just so important, like our ability as coaches to inspire that and just remember and remind our kids that it's fun. You get to play. Now, when we make it a chore, we make it a job, that's when kids start to quit. And a lot of you that are listening to this podcast have seen the statistic that 70% of kids quit by 13. Obviously, things get more competitive, and they should get more competitive as we go up. I feel like one of the things that we need to do better at as coaches is doing both, right? Being highly competitive and having a highly fun practice. You can do both. And that doesn't mean you are doing ring around the rosy and like only doing knockout and hot shots and like easy fun games, right? There's going to be times where you have challenging practices. It's just keeping that in frame of a frame of reference that youth sports are supposed to be fun. And then lastly, what I'll say is to help your athletes maximize their summer is build intrinsic motivation. Instead of always telling them, hey, you should do 300 shots, do this, do this, do this. You ask them, all right, number 1, right? You can tell them, right? If you're a varsity coach or you're someone that, you're their trainer, it really kind of depends on where you're at, even as a parent. What do you want? What are your goals? Do you want to start? Okay, if you want to start, what do you think you need to do there to get to start, right? Have you asked? Have you had the conversation with your coach? Okay, and what does that plan look like for you? Like asking those questions and then getting them to verbalize it. So that way, when they don't, let's say they do want to play, varsity basketball and they have to make some sacrifices during the summer. And that's okay, right? We have to teach them about commitment and sacrifice. It's not always going to be fun to wake up at 6, 7 a.m., to maybe potentially have a job and then go work out, whatever it is, right? But we have to build that intrinsic motivation. We don't want to just tell them, hey, go do 300 shots, 300 shots. Did you do your 300 shots? If they didn't actually say, like, hey, this is my goal, this is what I'm going to do, then it's what you want to do, right? We want to make sure we are guiding these kids to be successful, to unlock that. And then if they don't reach their goals and they didn't follow through on what they said they're going to do, it's their responsibility and they're learning that. And so that's what's really important. I feel like, just to recap the 5 points of wisdom to maximize summer for your athletes is, number 1, parents, only get 18 summers with their kids. Number 2, right? Rest is imperative, right? Enjoy life beyond whatever sport you're playing, beyond the game. Number 3 is do your best. Do what's best for you as the kid, for your kid, for your kids, right? Stop comparing them to other kids and have them run their own race. Number 4 is remember that it's about fun, right? Remember what youth sports is all about. And number 5, it's incredibly important to help our athletes build their own intrinsic motivation. Now, if you got something out of this podcast, please share it with a coach, share it with a friend, share it with a parent. That's how we grow. The purpose of this podcast is provide wisdom for coaches and parents to make the best possible decisions and empower their athletes to transform their athletes to become better people and better leaders beyond the game, whatever sport that is. So really appreciate you all watching and listening as we drop every Wednesday. Sometimes it's just a solo episode. Sometimes I bring in experts. It's a lot of fun to share all this wisdom with you all. And I obviously selfishly get to learn a lot as well. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, smash that, subscribe button wherever you listen to podcasts. Maybe you're watching on YouTube, and I will be in your ears and eyes next week. Coach Furtado out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Beyond the Scoreboard podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and share it with a friend, coach, or parent you feel like would get value from this episode. It's our responsibility to impact as many parents and coaches who are the ones that are impacting our athletes. That's how we create a ripple effect. So thank you for being a part of our community, and we look forward to serving you all next week.